Hello lovies. So today for some quick tip Tuesday, I'm going to bring this up and just kind of focus in a little bit. See if you can see this gorgeous texture. It is thick and chunky and yummy and good and so easy to make. Let me see if I can get a little closer. I don't know. I'll have great pictures for you. Look at that. Look at that chunkiness. Makes me happy. Okay, so let's bring this back out here and focus in a little bit. All right, back to normal. Okay, so how do we get to that yummy, grungy, good, chunky? Oh, it's so good. So good. Super, super simple. And inexpensive, which I love. I always have these random things that I save around the studio because, it's always like, what could I use that for? Well, I have a bunch of egg shells that I have washed out and kept around, and that is the secret ingredient to that chunky texture. So I just you can use a rolling pin, you can use whatever. I just take one of my big jars that I have, and I've got a piece of parchment paper down here, and I just kind of smush it down, and then with the side I just you can make it as fine or as chunky as you want. And now the cool thing about this too is that, and there'll be some like little filmy things that you can peel off, but you can leave it big like this and lay your pieces in just like that and create this gorgeous crackle effect. Or you can, and I'll show you that in just a second. So I'm going to move these over here, and I'm going to smush this one up into tinier pieces. Okay, so right here is just those tiny pieces that I have all smushed up. Okay, over here I have something even, let's see how sparkly that is. Mica flakes. I love mica flakes in my projects. Sometimes you run out, you don't have it. Sometimes you don't want to spend the money because they can be pricey. Just depends. Or you just want something different. That's what this is for. So I'm going to create this silvery, shiny, it looks just like mica flakes. It is awesome. So I have some silver spray, art spray by Marabou, and you can use whatever you've got. And it's just as simple as spraying it. And then mix it around with your finger. And you can make it as thick as you want, and you can do several coats. And I'm working on parchment paper because it won't stick. It might stick a little bit, but it comes right up with a little bit of, So let that dry, and you end up with this lovely goodness right here. Now these are gold, shimmery, glittery goodness. They look like nuggets of gold. Yes. That was created by, and if you had a similar spray in gold, you could do that. I know there's tons of gold sprays out there. I just used my, this is Craft Twinkles by Deco Art. And all I did was, I just grabbed a wide fan brush, poured a little bit of this right out onto my parchment paper, and just kind of mixed it all together until you got a nice coat. Kind of tossing it around. It's like you're stirring the batter, you want to make sure it all gets mixed up. And then you just let it dry. And that's it. And then scrape it up off your parchment paper. It'll stick a little bit, but it'll come right up. And you've got these gorgeous goodness. Oh, so good. So good. So you've got an option to do little tiny bits and pieces, bigger ones that we're going to work with in just a second. And then you can color them. The possibilities are endless, really. But so much fun. But I thought I'll set this aside. And this is a piece of cardstock, heavy-duty cardstock. And I have put matte medium down to make it a non-porous surface. And I'm going to grab some matte gel. And a palette knife, and I'm going to, I'm going to lay my matte gel down, and I suppose you could use gloss gel, but I like the matte because I'm going to be adding more layers. Layers and layers and layers of goodness. So I've got my matte gel down here, and I've got a nice thick coat. Can see that, and the thickness of the gel will also add to the grungy, yummy goodness. So if you have it more smoother, it'll be a little bit smoother as it dries. More textured, gives you more texture, obviously. So these big pieces over here that I have, I'm going to just kind of lay them in my gel, and you can create this amazing crackle. You lay them nice and close to each other, like you would see in like a crackle effect, and you can even kind of push them down a little bit more so that the bigger pieces kind of pop and crack within themselves. Oh, it's so gorgeous. So you just continue doing this with your pieces until you have enough, until you're satisfied, until it makes you happy, and then you let it dry. And I'm going to zoom in just a tiny bit so you can see this a little bit better. Scooch some things out of the way here. Okay, so you can see that. Let me focus in a little bit. See how that's all laying together? Now once that dries, you're going to put a coat of matte medium over it to seal the top of the eggs. If you put gel over it now, it'll kind of mess everything up. So let them dry just like this, and then you'll come back and put some matte medium over it, and then add whatever color or glaze or antiquing medium or anything. It is fantastic. Okay, so then for the other option that you can do is we've got our nice layer of gel medium up here. These little small pieces, just take them and drop them in. Grab a little bit more onto your palette knife and just kind of, again, work those in. Don't have too much of that gel medium on there, because then it'll kind of take away some of that, the bumpiness and everything. But you start spreading that out with your palette knife with those eggshells mixed in, and the texture is simply fabulous. Fabulous. Okay, so now this is just an example of the eggshells and some of that gold and that silver on my paper. This is again a cardstock piece of paper that has been treated with matte medium. But I thought I'd show you how this looks just initially with getting some color on there. So I just have some fluid acrylic and just a very wet brush. Look at how fabulous that should look at that. Ah, love, love, love. And same thing, I've got a little bit of quinacridone gold here, and that gold and shimmery, silvery kind of peek through. Oh yeah. And the texture of the gel medium shows up as well. So the possibilities are endless. That extra added goodness of texture. Yes, please. All right, my friends, that is your Quick Tip Tuesday. I hope your day is awesome, and I will talk to you